Hi everyone, this is Ren from JRen Digital. Before you start, please make sure to set up your locale and time zone correctly by going to File, Settings, select your locale and select your time zone correctly. Please do not skip this step because otherwise your overdue task and your today's date won't be detected correctly. Once you've done that, please click Save Settings. Please start with the Setup tab. As a general rule, please do not edit colored cells like this one and this one. I've put warning in place to prevent you from accidentally editing a colored cell. If you do that, this message will pop out. Colored cells may contain formulas. Please select cancel. The first thing to do is to set up your status, person to delegate, and your category of your task. You can set up to 10 status for your task and also enter the emoji of each status. But please note, done and cancelled status cannot be changed, but feel free to change the status below them. And if you have any person to delegate your task to, simply write their names here. And this table here is the category list for your task. This is fully editable and you have up to 20 categories. If you want, you can also treat this as projects. Feel free to delete this and rename it as projects if you want this to be the list of your projects. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to keep it as category, so I'm going to undo it. If you scroll down, you can also assign color to each category. I've allowed up to 6 different colors for 6 different categories. This will then be reflected in your monthly dashboard and weekly dashboard. Once you've done this setup, feel free to hide these columns by clicking the minus button here. Whenever you hide or unhide columns, you can always ignore this warning message and select OK. Now, if you have any recurring tasks, which are tasks that repeat on a certain frequency, like weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, and so on, you can set them up once in this table here, and your recurring tasks will be automatically populated for the next 12 months in the recurring schedule tab. The first thing to do before listing all of your tasks is to select your starting month. As per this note, all of your recurring tasks are set to end 12 months after the starting month you selected here. In this example, I've chosen the 1st of November, and as you can see, the end date of all of your recurring tasks is the 31st October next year, which is 12 months after the 1st of November. Now to set up your recurring tasks, simply enter your task information in the white cells, enter your task details, which is your task name and category. The category drop-down here is from the setup table that I've explained earlier. If you need to edit this, please do not edit them here. Make sure to edit this in the category table under setup. So here is where you can edit your category. Then enter the frequency of your task. This is how you want your task to repeat. You have the option of weekly, bi-weekly is every 2 weeks, monthly, for weekly is every 4 weeks, every 2 months, quarterly, biannual is every 6 months, and annual. Then please enter the first date of when that task is due, and that will be automatic based on the starting month you selected here. However, if you want certain tasks to stop, for example, Pilates, you can simply delete this end date and enter a new end date. Start time and end time are optional. Never leave it as blank because if you leave it as blank, it will turn red because this will create error in the template. So please leave it as dash if you don't want to input any time. Simply input start time and end time. They're in 15 minutes intervals. And then the duration in colored cell here will automatically populate based on your start time and end time. This table here is based on Eisenhower matrix. This is to help you make decision of which task to do first. I will explain a little bit more about it under the decision tab. Feel free to enter priority of your task. There are 4 priorities allowed here: urgent, high, medium, and low. Please note that in all of your dashboards, like daily and weekly, urgent priority is for your top priority tasks. These tasks will be highlighted in the dashboard tab and daily tab, as well as in the weekly and monthly. So if you have any task that you deem as top priority, please make sure to choose urgent. Even though this column is optional, I highly recommend to allocate priority to each recurring task because in your dashboard tab, daily, weekly, and monthly tabs, all of your tasks will be automatically sorted by priority from the highest priority to the lowest. Now, importance column is only relevant for the decision tab. So if you are using this tab, decision tab, then make sure to give thoughts to the importance of this task by checking or unchecking the boxes in this column. Person column is optional. Feel free to allocate a person to each task. If you are not allocating a task to anyone, simply select dash, but please do not leave it as blank. The last column here is your decision. This is automatically populated for you based on your priority and importance. As an example, when a task is urgent and important, the decision column will automatically populate that task as do first. So feel free to skip to that chapter in this video if you want to hear more about the decision matrix. You can set up to maximum of 100 recurring tasks. Feel free to hide any columns you're not using. For example, if you don't want to use the time column, simply hide them by clicking this minus icon. So yeah, feel free to customize the table to suit your needs. Now let's do it together. I'm going to show you how to enter a recurring task. Simply type your task. I'm going to call it morning swim. Then choose a category. This is a weekly task, so I'm going to choose weekly. Then choose the first date, in this instance the 7th, and it will automatically populate. Choose the time. The quickest way to do it is to type in the time. I'm going to choose 3:30 a.m. Then choose the end time. If it's 9 a.m., I'm going to type 9 and then choose 9 a.m. Then I'm going to choose low priority for this one. I'm going to leave the importance unchecked and I won't allocate a person here, but feel free to allocate a person if you want. Now, what if you want to do morning swim twice a week? So every Friday and every Sunday. Simply copy and paste this task to the following row and then change this. Instead of Friday, I would change it to Sunday. So the second. Don't forget to also do the same with the time, priority, and all the other details. Once you've done that, your morning swim will repeat every Friday and Sunday in all the tabs. This is also how you do daily frequency. So if you want to do morning swim every day, simply copy and paste that task 7 times to the following row, then adjust the dates in the start date so that it repeats from Monday to Sunday. Once you have set up all the recurring tasks in this tab, they will be all populated in the recurring schedule tab. So let's go to that tab. Here is your recurring schedule. I didn't protect the sheet to allow you to be able to filter your tasks. So row 5 here is where you can filter your recurring tasks. Please note that in Excel version, you could do that from row 7. Very important to not edit column C to column M because these are colored cells. So please do not edit them because they contain formulas. Column D here is where you can mark all completed tasks as done. So simply check the box and all of your completed tasks are automatically marked as gray. Then all of your overdue tasks are automatically highlighted in pink. So I'm going to scroll down so that you can see all of the tasks that are not completed. Once you check the box here, it will be automatically marked as gray. So in this tab, you can see all of your recurring tasks for the next 12 months from your starting month. Now, if I need to make a variation to a single task, for example, my Friday task review here, I need to cancel this task, but just for this Friday, not for the previous Fridays or the following Fridays. What you can do, simply delete the box here, and this task will be marked automatically as canceled in all tabs. If you want to restore a checkbox, simply copy and paste from the cell above or below it by pressing Ctrl C and Ctrl V. Now, what if I want to do a variation to that task? So I don't want to cancel it, but I want to change the time. So simply use this variation table here if you scroll all the way to the right. So this variation table is how you can enter a variation to each task. Okay, now I need to change my Friday task review only for this Friday from 10 a.m. start to 11 a.m. Select 11 a.m. here. So once I've selected there, the time here changed from 10 to 11 a.m. And then now I just need to change the end time. And now the end time is also updated here. So that's how you add variation to each recurring task. Simply use the columns here. You can also change the priority, person, and decision. And you can also add notes to each recurring task in this column here. Now, something to be mindful of, variation table here is not locked to these columns here. So that means that if you want to input any variation here, please make sure to not add a new recurring task with a start date before your last variation. For example, the last variation that I've added in the sheet is for this task here. Scroll down to the left is for project progress meeting on the 12th of November. So if I go to the setup tab, and if I want to add a new recurring task, it's very important that the start date cannot be before the last variation that you add here. And that includes this column here. These are not locked to this table in the middle here. To avoid that, please make sure to finish setting up all of your recurring tasks first before you start adding variation to the recurring schedule tab. And if you do need to add a new recurring task later on, make sure the start date is after the last task that you checked as done and also the last variation that you added, which in this example, it should be after the 12th of November. Now let's move on to variable tasks. So for all non-recurring tasks or one-time tasks, you can log them in this tab here. It works the same way with how you set up recurring tasks. The only difference is because this is for one-time tasks, it won't repeat. And also for variable tasks, you'll be able to allocate status and progress to each task. Remember, if you need to edit your status, please go to the Setup tab. Don't edit them in this drop-down here. To mark completed tasks, please do that under the status column. So if I want to mark this task as done, simply choose done here and it will automatically mark as gray. Progress column is optional, so you don't have to enter the progress of each task. But if you want to, you can enter a percentage here so you can track your progress. I've purposely locate the progress column next to the status column so that if you are using the progress column for that particular task, please remember to enter 100% when that task is done. Now let's log a task together so you know how it works. Simply enter your task here, email to team, choose the category. Again, this is optional. You're gonna choose business and then choose your due date. Time is optional, so you can allocate time if you prefer to, but you can also leave it as blank here. Then choose your status. I'm gonna choose not started. I'm gonna leave the progress as blank and then priority as medium, and I'm going to mark it as important. Now, for those of you who are managing projects and need to enter start date to your task, you can do so in the Gantt tab. Gantt tab is your Gantt chart. To keep things simple and easy to use, I didn't put the start date in this tab because start dates are only relevant when you are using the Gantt tab. So don't worry, I will explain about that in this video tutorial when I talk about the Gantt chart. All of your dashboards like weekly and monthly tabs will show the tasks and the due dates. As per this note here, to check double booking for time, please sort tasks by the due date. Simply click the little triangle here and sort from A to Z. You will see in these columns here, if there are any tasks that are clashing in schedule with each other, it will be highlighted in red. But very important, please make sure to go to the task filter, which displays all of your tasks, both recurring and variable, so you can check if you have double booking more accurately. Let's talk about task filter now. Task filter tab is where you can see the list of all of your tasks, both recurring and variable. You can sort and filter all tasks at the top row here. You can filter by date range and sort by due date, task name, and so on. Then choose your sort order if it's ascending or descending. You can also filter by progress range, task name, priority, importance, category, status, person, and decision. Please note if you want to filter just variable tasks or filter just recurring schedule, you can simply do it directly in the variable task tab and in the recurring schedule tab. The task filter is only if you need to see the combined tasks between recurring and variable. You can see all of the done tasks are marked as gray. All of the overdue tasks are highlighted in pink. And if I scroll down, you can see all of the tasks that are not completed are all shown in the green colored cells. Now, this tab is for filter only. And if you need to edit the task, for example, I want to mark this date night as done. To edit the task, simply do a single click on the cell. If you click here, it will take you straight to the shade and cell of that actual task so you can edit it easily. So I'm going to mark this as done. Sometimes it takes a couple of seconds for it to update after you check the box. And then if you go back to the task filter, you can see that the date night is now marked as done. This one here, if I click here, it will go to the variable task because that task is from variable sheet. And then if I want to mark it as done, simply do it under the status here. That task will then be updated as well as in the task filter here. So this hyperlink is available in all sheets. So you'll be able to edit and find your task within seconds without having to scroll over hundreds of tasks to find the task you want to edit. Let's exercise the filter function so you know how it works. So with the date range, for example, I just want to filter from the 1st of November until the 30th of November. It will then exclude all of the tasks after the 30th of November. And then if I want to isolate just business categories, you can see here it only displays business category. I can also filter by person. So if I select the Jamie, it might take a couple of seconds to update. It will then show all tasks between this date range in the business category that belongs to Jamie. So super easy to use. If you want to restore it, simply delete the content in those cells. As a default, I leave importance as both, but if you want to filter by importance, you can also choose between true or false here. Now, as per this note here, to check double booking for time, please sort tasks by due date. So as the default, I have selected sort by due date and then sort order ascending. You can of course change this, but when you need to check for double booking for time, especially between recurring and variable tasks, please make sure to set this up to due date and ascending. Once you've done that, I'm going to scroll down. You can see if there is double booking, it will be highlighted in red here. So John Jiu-Jitsu is clashing with the doctor checkup. To avoid this double booking, simply single click on the cell and then click this link here. It will take you to John Jiu-Jitsu task. Then remember, if it's a recurring task, to edit the time, you need to do it in the variation columns here. Dashboard tab is your all-in-one dashboard. The left-hand side here displays your today's date automatically. Then underneath that are simply shortcuts, so you can access each tab with a single click by clicking the hyperlink here. So these are just hyperlinks to make it easy for you to access any tab from this dashboard. Feel free to hide that by clicking this icon here. Your today's task automatically populated here. Today's progress automatically calculated in this cell here. Today's tasks are automatically sorted from urgent to low priority. Then your top priority tasks are automatically highlighted in pink. So make sure to allocate urgent for your top priority tasks when you're logging your task in the Setup tab and Variable Task tab, so that they will be automatically highlighted in this dashboard. If you need to show who owns each task, simply unhide this column here next to column I by clicking the double arrow here. It will unhide the person column. I'm going to hide this again. And the same with the hyperlink function I mentioned earlier. Here you can also edit tasks with a single click. To find the task you want to edit, simply click here. I'm going to mark this as done. And then if I go back to the dashboard, that task will automatically updated as done. And your today's progress is automatically updated as well. Please note that this tab displays up to 20 of today's tasks. If you have more than 20, you can always go to the daily tab if you have more than 20 tasks per day. Then if you scroll down, it will display your overdue tasks and how many overdue tasks you have. It's calculated in this cell here and it's automatically sorted by the number of days left. This week's task is automatically populated in this table here. All you need to do is select the week starting date and it will display all the tasks for that week. The progress of your week is automatically calculated here. This week's task is automatically sorted by due date from the earliest to the latest. And the same with the today's task. You can also unhide this column. Whenever you unhiding a column, you can always select OK so that you can see the person who owns each task here. I'm going to hide this again. You can also hide this week's task by clicking this one here. This one here is the filter tool for this tab. So you can filter by date range, category, person, and you can exclude certain status. So for example, I don't want to show done tasks. I just want to show all the tasks that are not completed. So I will select this. Now you can see that this tab is only showing tasks that are not completed. You can exclude up to 3 status here. And this last part here, all of these charts are just the summary of all of your tasks based on your filter here. So you can see your decision matrix summary, the task by category ratio, task by person, and task by status. Daily tab is a dedicated tab for you to plan your day. Your today's date is displayed here, and this is automatic based on your time zone settings. So to go from day to day, you don't need to select a new date as long as you set up your time zone correctly. On the left-hand side here, your today's schedule will be automatically populated here based on your task log. You can set up the intervals and start time. For example, I'm going to change this to 15 minutes instead of 30 minutes. Your schedule is now updated to 15 minutes interval. You can also change the start time to any time here and this will be updated. And feel free to hide this if you're not using it. Your today's task is automatically populated in this table here. You can view up to 40 tasks. Your daily progress is calculated here. You can also unhide this column here to show the person who owns each task. You can filter your daily tasks, and the same with the dashboard tab. You can filter by excluding some status, filter by category, and by person. Main focus is fully customizable. If you want to use it for something else, you can simply delete this and then write a new title. Simply enter the content here. Your daily gratitude is automatically populated from the gratitude log. So let's go to gratitude log. This date is from the setup tab. I've created this sheet so you can record the things that you are grateful for every day and track them for 365 days. So simply enter your daily gratitude here. And then in the daily tab, it will be automatically populated based on today's date. I've created this reminder table for any last minute tasks. These are for tasks that don't need to be populated to all tabs, so you don't need to see them in the weekly dashboard or monthly dashboard, but it's something that will help you during that day. So simply write them here. Once they are done, you can simply check the box. If you scroll down, you can also see a large section for notes. Feel free to write anything here. You can use this for brain dumps or again anything that don't need to be recorded or appeared in all dashboard. Weekly tab is your weekly planner. Even though these are white cells, please do not write in them. This is a fully automated template, so all of your weekly tasks will be automatically populated here. The first thing you need to do here is to select the start date. It can start at any day, doesn't have to be Sunday. If you are using Google Sheets on a desktop, this little calendar will pop out, but otherwise simply type the date, simply type the month 11/9. All of your tasks for the week will be automatically populated here. All tasks will be automatically sorted from the highest to the lowest priority. As you can see in the legend here, these visuals will help you identify quickly which one's your top priority task to help you stay focused. All completed tasks will be marked as gray. To edit tasks, the same with all the other tabs, you can use the hyperlink here to find and edit your tasks quicker. You can also track your daily progress, how much tasks you've done in this row here. And the same filter function with the other tabs, you can exclude certain status, and then you can filter by category and by person. It will then be applied to this tab. You can view up to 40 tasks per day. Simply click this plus icon here, select OK. So you can view all the 40 rows if you need them. And then if you scroll down, this is your weekly schedule or time blocking. As a default, it's colored by category, but you can also choose to color by priority. To assign color by category, there is a shortcut here. So if you click here, it will go straight to where you can assign color to each category, which is in the setup tab. You can also set your intervals. If you scroll up, you can set your schedule to have 15 minutes interval or 30 minutes intervals, and you can also select the start time of your schedule. Your schedule and time blocking will be automatically populated here. So if I want to go to the next week, what I need to do is to select the start date of the next week, then your weekly tasks will automatically update. Now I've put warning in place if double booking occurs. So as you can see here, on Friday the 5th of December, I have a double booking for this day. To check where the double booking is, simply go to the task filter using the hyperlink here. Go to task filter and make sure you select sort by due date and ascending. Then you can see the double booking here highlighted in red. To edit that, simply use the hyperlink as explained earlier. Monthly tab is your monthly calendar. There are a total of 6 weeks displayed here. And the same with the weekly tab. Even though this is white cells, please do not enter anything here. This is a fully automated template, so all of your monthly tasks are automatically populated. All you need to do is to select the start date. So simply select your start date here. If I want to move on to the next month, simply select the new start date. But if I want to move on to December, I need to select the 30th of November because I want my calendar to start on Sunday. But you can start at any day of the week, so please choose the start date accordingly. And all of the tasks for December are automatically populated here. All of your completed tasks are marked as gray. Your today's date is automatically highlighted in red. Each day can accommodate up to 8 tasks. If you have more than 8 tasks per day, simply use the weekly tab where you can view up to 40 tasks per day. As a default for the color, I didn't select anything here, but you can select color by priority or by category. If I select color by category, all tasks will be automatically highlighted by category as per what you set up in the setup sheet. To assign color by category, simply click the hyperlink here. You can also choose color by priority. Your tasks will always be automatically sorted from the highest priority to the lowest. Your top priorities will be highlighted in the dark green, so it's similar with the weekly tab. The filter function is the same with the other tabs. You can exclude certain status, so if I select done here, it will hide all of the completed tasks, so you can focus on all the tasks that are not done. You can also filter by category and filter by person. If I choose business, for example, it will just show all the tasks within the business category. Now that we've discussed the dashboards, let's talk about the last 3 tabs of this spreadsheet, which is decision metrics, Kanban, and Gantt Chart. These tabs are designed to help you organize, focus, and track progress of your tasks. The decision tab populates all tasks, so it includes both recurring and variable tasks. It is based on Eisenhower matrix, which is a system to sort your tasks by urgency and importance to help you prioritize and know what to focus on first. It divides all of your tasks into 4 clear quadrants, so it's easy to visualize what needs to be done first, what can be scheduled for later, what can be delegated, and what can be dropped altogether. This matrix here is a simple visual guide to remind you what each quadrant means. Urgent and important tasks belongs to the first quadrant. Not urgent and important means that you can schedule it. Urgent and not important means you can delegate it. And then not urgent and not important means you can delete it. So based on this, very important to note if you are using this shade, when logging your tasks, make sure to fill out the priority column as well as the importance column. So for example, a task will only be categorized under do first in the decision matrix if the priority is urgent and if you check the importance box for that task. You can see the list of all tasks in all quadrants displayed in this table here based on the filter at the top part here. So you can enter start date and end date, which means you can isolate tasks within a certain period. If you want to hide all completed tasks, simply check this box. And the same if you want to hide all canceled tasks, simply check this box as well. You can also filter by category or by person. And this is the summary of the number of tasks you have in each quadrant. So if I uncheck this box, for example, you can now see all of the completed tasks. I can also filter by category. If I just want to show tasks under the business category, I can check it and then everything else will be updated accordingly. You can see remaining tasks versus done tasks displayed in this row here for each quadrant. You can also track your progress in this row here, which is how much tasks you have done so far in each quadrant. All tasks are automatically sorted by the number of days left. You can see overdue tasks highlighted in pink. And then all of the done tasks will have this check mark. If you need to see person allocated to each task, simply unhide this column here. And the same with all of the other quadrants, you can unhide the column if you need to see the person responsible for each task. And the same with all the other tabs. If you need to edit tasks, simply click the hyperlink in each task cell. Now, Kanban shade. Very important that this shade only populates data from the variable tasks. Recurring tasks will be excluded from this shade. This is simply your task by status, which is a visual workflow of your tasks. Tasks are grouped by status, so you can instantly see where every task sits in your workflow. So I've deleted the content of each status to show you how this works from the start. So first of all, this is the setup and filter function. To start with, I'm only going to filter by date and I'm going to leave this as black. And again, this is task by status and the status is listed here. If you need to edit this status, simply click the hyperlink here and it will take you directly to the status setup in the setup tab. What you need to do is to assign status to each of these columns. Going to select not started for the first column, waiting for the second column, review for the third, in progress for the fourth column, and done as the fifth column. As you can see, the sheet will then automatically populate all tasks based on the status that you selected in this row here to each column in the form of this smart card. Let's take a closer look. Each of these smart cards will show you the name of the task in the first row, category or project in the second row. The next one will be due date. Priority is shown here, person responsible, and progress here. The last row here is the hyperlink, so you can edit the task with a single click. Once you edit the task, for example, if this task is now done, I'm going to select done here and 100% for progress. That task has now disappeared from the not started and can be found under the done column here. Here it is, the call client. This sheet can display up to 50 tasks per column. The number of tasks per column will be automatically calculated here, so you can see how many tasks per status. Now you can also filter the tasks using this filter table here. For example, if I just want to isolate business category, once you select that, it will automatically show only the tasks from business category. You can filter by task name, priority, category, person, decision, filter by date. So let's say I just want to show the tasks for Jamie. So I'm going to select Jamie. You can now see the tasks under business category with Jamie as the person responsible. Priority of each card is highlighted in different color. Urgent priority highlighted in red, high highlighted in blue, medium in orange, and low priority highlighted in green. Each column automatically sorts tasks by due date from the earliest to the latest, then by priority. If you need to manage a project, you can use this tab here, which is the Gantt chart. It lays out your project on a visual timeline up to 52 weeks, which is a year. Mapping every task from its start date to its end date, it lets you see your entire project at a glance so you can stay on track and manage deadlines. And if you need to manage more than one project, simply duplicate the Gantt tab by right-clicking on the tab and then select duplicate. And as per this note here, and here, this shade only populates variable tasks. Recurring tasks are excluded from here. The first thing to do here is to set up your work days and holidays. Simply uncheck your days off. This is fully customizable and lists all of your holidays by entering the date and the name of the holidays in this table here. So once you've done that, your days off will be marked as pink in this calendar and your public holidays will be marked in dark gray. Your today's date will be automatically detected and marked in red. Please select your project from the drop down here in this cell. Remember, this is from the setup tab. So if I go back to the setup tab, this is where you can write the list of your projects or categories. Simply select it here. This one here is optional, but you can choose a project leader here. That's it. The rest is automatic. So please do not edit this part here. The next step is to enter your task here. This drop down will populate based on the project you chose here. Once you have entered your task, please enter the start date of that task in this column here, and the rest of the information will be automatically populated for you based on the data that you enter in the variable task tab. Then the last step is to assign color to each task. To see the legend of the color, you can refer to this table here. So simply assign color to each task, and then your task timeline will be automatically highlighted for you here. You can also enter notes per task here. And the other thing I forgot to mention is under days left here, you can choose whether to show how many work days left, or you can also delete this cell if you want to show how many days left. And also feel free to hide the columns if you want to make it easier to read in your screen. Simply select the column and select hide columns. And of course, you can click OK. And you can also hide this setup here. The start date and end date of the project is automatically populated based on the input that you put in here. And remember, the due date is based on the variable task tab. So this will automatically detect the earliest date and the latest date. So you know the start date and the end date of your project. Now, to edit tasks, you can use this column here. So for example, if I have finished this task here, I can click on the hyperlink here and select done. Please remember to put 100% once you select a task as done. And now if I go back to the Gantt chart, that task is now updated. So let's enter a task together so you know exactly how it works. Under variable tasks, I have added a new task called review phase 2. I've allocated the category or project, and then this is the deadline of that task. So due date is the deadline. So I've input 19th of November and also fill that status, progress, and priority. So if you go back to the Gantt chart, simply select that task by typing the first three letters to find it quicker. So I'm going to choose review phase 2. Now you can see that the progress is automatically populated as well as the deadline and other information. So now you just need to input the start date. So the deadline of that task is November the 19th, and I'm going to put 7th of November as the start date. So once you input the start date, you can see the duration is automatically calculated for you, as well as the work days and days left. And then don't forget to allocate the color. So I'm going to put dark green. Once you've done that, if you scroll all the way to the right, you can see that the timeline of that task is automatically highlighted here in green from November the 7th until the 19th of November. So that's how it works. The last thing I want to show you is you can also see the summary of each phase automatically display at the top of each phase. So in phase 1, you can see the summary of your progress, start date and the deadline, duration of that phase, and so on. The same with phase 2, phase 3, and so on.